Yeah, I'm lost.
If we get them on the call, if we get them on the call, not
So
a cold
when
email.
you're engaging up from a phone conversation to an appointment, you're saying basically for every 2 contacts, you're getting 1 appointment?
Pretty much. Unless they're not motivated, then I don't want to waste my time.
Anybody else catch that here? 2
Because
contacts?
no one's
one
getting the
appointment?
offer of the VIP buyer's consultation.
Yeah, I
People
mean-
are picking it up and they're going right out to the listing.
And here's the thing that I love about it too, is that you drew me in with curiosity on it. You weren't selling me anything. I gotta say, that's huge in itself. All right, so basically 2 to 1 ratio of getting to a buyer's agency appointment. So tell me about the buyer's agency appointment.
It's really kind of just sitting in that room over there. They see us in a professional environment. I'll introduce them to the title company, to Jessie, who is wonderful, and I'll tell them that she's going to take care of them and just set all the expectations. Tell them about the earnest money, the inspections, major items. Just go through it all, become their friend, get them pre-approved then and there, or get them on a plan, and they're rocking. Set up the next appointment before they leave too.
Okay, so
Always.
what's, real quickly here, what's the general kind of mood of that? I mean, are they standoffish, or I mean, you know, how do you break down like, you know, the defenses? How do you just make them feel more comfortable?
I don't really know. Just kind of mirroring and matching. That's huge. If they're crossing their arms, cross your arms. Eventually they'll let them down. Just kind of joking with them, talking about what they want and how we can get them there, making it about them, not me.
And would it be safe to say that you're just kind of assuming that this is gonna go the way you expect it to go?
They came in.
Yeah, if you can get them in the door, the conversion rate is huge. It's just, sometimes they'll set the appointment with you, then they don't show, but then they're still online looking. So we touch base with them anyway, you know, because even if they didn't make the appointment, because.
So I love this. So basically, if they came in, your mindset is they came in, it's mine to lose.
Well, I'll tell them, you're at this table, this is where you'll be closing as well. So they know that.
I love this. All right, so we got some good questions. Tina, actually Kendall's been up, Tina, and then I'll go to Keith.
Okay, so it's hard for an agent to not like jump in their car and run to that house.
Uh-huh.
So if they're like, yeah, can you just meet me at this house today? What do you do to?
How many other agents have jumped in the car and met him at that house? That's kind of what I'm thinking. If they just want me to do that, I feel like I'm gonna kind of have a hard time because they've already met with a ton of other people. So sometimes I gotta be honest, I'll let them go.
Can
I mean,
you're not gonna
if
chase
they're
it.
not pre-approved and they can't bring me a letter and they don't want to buy right away, if they got a house, I mean, it kind of depends, but I'm not gonna run out there because I have a million other things going on right now.
Let me ask you, Bonnie, how many buyers did you close in July?
6?
Oh, 7, one got shoved.
So seven closings over the last 30 days. Would you be able to close 7 buyers if you were chasing after each one of the people in your pipeline?
No, I mean, even if it's Darting Prairie, that's still 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. You're just putting everything else on hold. If they really are interested and they want my services, they can come in here. You know?
And can I add something to that, Kendall? The only difference is if it is one of our listings, it is our duty to show that listing. If we meet them out there, we do ask them to come into the office after, if we do that. But it's very rare, because normally I'll try and get out there so she doesn't have to waste her time. Because if it is your listing, it is your kind of call to do that, but we try to get in here first.
Yeah, like she
Yeah.
said, like the lead calls that come in.
Mhm.
It's hard for an
Yeah.
agent not to be like, I'll be there at 2 o'clock.
Mhm.
You know?
I kind of don't believe them in the beginning until they actually put a little bit of effort in for me. I'm not going to put any effort in for them because there's a line of people waiting, and it kind of takes away the responsibility we have for them if we just drop them and go meet somebody we don't know anything about.
Bonnie, did you have that kind of clear-cut qualification and criteria when you first started, or did that kind of build?
No, it built, and it's also not safe. And I don't want to die. I don't have to. It's also not safe. So I'd rather bring them in here if they're going to try to, you know. Plus, I mean, you get a little bit of cushion in the bank, and you can kind of focus a little bit more on what you need to.
So we'll say, just, you know, the activity leads to the confidence, and confidence leads to the results. Okay, so you've got them in here. Oh, actually, hold on, Tina, you had a question too.
Well, Stephanie had just stated that sometimes they don't show up for their appointment, but they still are looking online. Do you set them up on Listing Book or anything
Yes.
immediately after your first phone call to track them?
No, that's another piece that they'll get when they come in.
And
Because
how
I
do
have
you
a
track if they're still looking online? You wait
It shows. I use HBM. I love HBM. And it's run through a lender. So
Okay.
that's one of the things
Gotcha.
that they'll get when they come in, because otherwise they're just on listing book and everybody has listing book.
Right.
So there's a value of coming in so they can get set up on that.
Okay, just
So-
one.
And the other, like, if it's another different lead that comes in from like Truler, Zillow, or whatever, Jessie automatically sets them up, if there's only an email, she sets them up on a drip that just
Gotcha.
kind of keeps in contact.
Gotcha.
If they start responding, then we respond.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you're giving it away for free, they're just gonna go to the next agent.
I agree, that's why I wondered, yeah, you said that. Thank
So-
you.
That's like a carrot.
So, yeah, to put a bow tie there, you're not giving them any sort of listing book, HBM, any of the things that can give them all the properties that they're looking for. You don't give them that until you meet with them face to face.
Unless they're a listing. Other than that, no. Because I probably talked to a couple of you already.
Gotcha. Okay. Which, by the way, I love that, guys. I think that's a majorly, aha. Okay. So now they come in. You go and talk with them, buyer's agency, the actual agreement side. That's another area that I see a lot of agents kind of get tripped up on as far as how to explain that. How do you explain the buyer's agency agreement? And you're doing it right there the
Yeah.
first time you meet with them, right?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Some of them a little not, because we do charge a fee, so they want to make sure that we are bringing that value to the table. But I just say, hey, are you ready to hire me? And they're
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it sounds great.
"Well, sure." And then I'll say, hey, if you want to fire me, all you got to do is send me an email. It's never happened. I might cry a little bit, and then they just go away.
Okay. Now, there's something that's also in this buyer's agency agreement, though, that I think is important, that I put in the email yesterday, that you get between 10 and 15% more than any other buyer's agent.
Is that what it is?
Pretty much. What's the average commission that's offered for a buyer's agent?
Oh, the 2.7.
2.7? Are you guys seeing some 2.5s out there, too?
Blah.
I will not.
Blah.
They're there, though, aren't they? So what do you ask for?
3.0 plus 450.
All right, so that's important. So, how do you have that conversation with your buyers?
You will see, if you look at the second page, everything that's on the duties, I will go above and beyond, and I'll do more for. If you do not feel that we have earned it, you talk to Stephanie before closing, we'll get it taken off. It's happened like once with the old school.
So you're asking for the opportunity to earn it.
Yep.
You're not telling them that this is my way or the highway. You're saying, hey, just give me a chance to earn this. If I do it, great. If not, then we'll address it at the end of the day.
Yep,
And how many people balked at it right out of the gate?
one, just because they were old school. They're like, that's not what I did when I bought my other 16.
So what'd you do with that?
Sent it to Stephanie, let her handle
I
it.
just said, we totally get it, let's have the opportunity, but some of them wouldn't just sign right there, so we
Yeah.
just said, great, and they raved of it after, so, it's just one of those things, I think in the long run, it'll work out. But then the other thing I do want to point out is that if it's a buyer, we try and roll that into your closing costs, but then we've actually had, 4 sellers have to physically bring the additional money, anywhere between $800 to, I think, $1,200 was the max. What was the max, you remember? So, the sellers are bringing, the buyers are bringing in that money with them,
And I guess the biggest thing here that I heard you say is that, in that second page of the buyer's agency agreement have all the minimum brokerage requirements, right? And so you're saying, look, if I'm minimum, I'm gonna ask for the minimum, but I'm not the minimum, I'm offering more value by, one, just having you sit down and talk about, what our expectations are. I think to Lisa's point, one of the biggest downfalls of our profession is lack or poor communication. You're setting off on the right tone of just having, high level communication, and there's a value for that. There's a dollar value for that, right? You're getting it. So I think that's pretty cool. So, basically what I'm hearing you say, if you don't ASK, you don't GET.
Pretty much.
Right.
And also, it's the listing agent's job to get us 3%. If you are lacking in your job, I don't feel like I should take that, because I'm worth a little bit more than you. So it's not my fault that you couldn't get me the 3.0. If I gotta get it myself, I gotta
Right.
get it myself.
Yeah, so I love that. So that sets you up. So does that give you guys a couple ideas to use there when you're in those conversations? And I just think it's one of those specific things to just go ahead and ask for.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, when you're actually servicing the clients, how many homes you typically show a buyer? Is there an average that you're looking at?
Probably between maybe 7 and 12, maybe?
So 7 and 12 properties per buyer.
I need to track that a little bit better.
Okay. So how are you kind of keeping, that's a pretty good streamlined approach, right, as far as the number, of homes that you're showing. you know, how are you keeping it in that kind of ballpark?
Well, we always have maybe 4 when we go out to compare, and we keep them really strict as to what we're looking for. I'm not gonna show you anything that I can't get you as far as price, way too overpriced. And really just dialing in, because we have the consultation, we know exactly what they do want and what they don't want. So if they send me something that is completely out of the blue, why? Just for
So
curiosity?
how do you handle that? Because I mean, that, you know, I like, just the way your even tonation, or tonality, the way that you kind of said that is, like, I'm not gonna send you, or I'm not gonna show you something that is outside of your.
That we can't make work, it's a waste
That
of
we
your
can't
time.
make work.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna show you anything that we can't make work. Made me feel like you're looking out for me rather than just trying to protect your time.
Not a doubt.
I thought that was really cool, the way you said that there. But what about that, I just, have it's 12:30 a.m. on a Tuesday night, I can't get to sleep, and I see some random property that's, $100,000 out of my price range, but I wanna see it. So I send you an email and I say, Bonnie, let's go take a look at this on Wednesday.
Why don't we call your lender and see if there's another way that we can get you 100,000 up? Because otherwise, you're gonna fall in love with something that you cannot get, and you're gonna compare everything else to it.
So you're shutting it down before you
You
even
have
get
to,
there.
you have to, because it's gonna confuse the whole process if you don't.
Cool.
That's all they're gonna look forward to, and they can't get it.
I love it.
Let's be realistic.
It brings, how people always say, and I hate the thing when they say buyers are liars. Buyers aren't liars. I think what we've done in the past as agents is we don't dial into what they're wanting. When you have that consultation here, you can see their face when they're going through all the listings that you can show them their price point. And all of a sudden, if at every split level you show them, they're going sprinkling their nose up, they don't want a split level. Dial into what they want, so that cuts down your time with the buyer, but also, they're not a liar. They just didn't know what they wanted until you showed them. Does that make sense? So I think that consultation cuts out a lot of time, a lot of showings.
So the consultation's doing that, and then I'd assume, like, for those first-time home buyers, maybe their criteria is developing as they look at properties as well. So, I mean, are you pinging them, or how are you staying in touch with them, and how are you using 2 of your ears and 1 of your mouth?
The first-time homebuyers, they're just constant texters, and they're really quick to make a decision. You really only have to show the first-time homebuyer to maybe 7. Typically, they're making a decision.
Whoa,
the
is that
first
contrary to
time.
popular belief out there? Wow, that's pretty cool, I love that. So 7, I mean, I would've thought that, those are the people that wanna see everything under the sun.
No, the only problem you have is the condition.
Okay.
The pictures, y'all are photoshopping, I know that. The pictures are what's confusing them. You get in and you just can't get an FHA loan, you can't get a USDA or a VA, you gotta go. That's what skews the numbers a little bit, but if you really know that condition's gonna work, you really show minimal, especially to them, because they get excited,
Okay.
and you get excited with them.
That's awesome. I love that. What type of things are you kind of running into, challenges that you're overcoming, once you've got a contract accepted? Well, let me dive in there. Is there, a negotiating strategy that you guys use to go ahead and best position your buyers as you're kind of negotiating that deal, or is that pretty subjective to each deal?
It's subjective to each deal, but the listing agents, I contact listing agents as much as possible and get them to know who I am and have really good conversations, build that relationship. So when you call them and say, hey, I might be sending an offer, where they're like, awesome, I can't wait. So that when you're on good terms with them, they seem to want to make it work a little bit better, and you usually get a little bit more of what you want if you're somewhat friendly.
I like that. So you're blazing the path. You're setting up the relationship with the listing agent there, and you leveraging that
Yeah.
for your buyers.
Yep.
I think it's great. I think
They're
it's-
awesome.
So now, let's say you get to an accepted agreement. Is there any challenges that you're overcoming that you feel that you're doing a great job of taking those buyers to the closing table?
New roofs. We've been getting a lot of new roofs. Insurance claims. Where's Brent? Is Brent in here? Thank you, Brent.
I insert insurance claims.
New roofs. And closing costs?
So
We
hold
had,
on. So how are you doing this? I mean, like, 'cause I'd imagine that would turn out to be a nightmare if you're doing that 24 hours before closing.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you setting up that whole deal?
if there's nothing else wrong on the building inspection, we're skipping everything small and going straight to a roof. Fact of the matter is, we got an FHA buyer, we gotta have a new roof. You wanna sell, we wanna buy, call insurance, see what you can do.
Gotcha.
9 times out of 10, you get a new roof. Because if they let us go, you're gonna get another FHA buyer. They're not gonna be able to buy it either. So let's just get it done now.
Awesome.
That and closing costs getting paid for. A lot of our buyers, we have like 3-4 buyers get money back at closing. Nobody's really paying anything for these houses. Everything's being billed to close and the sellers are paying for it. So it's pretty good.
So it's pretty good. I like it. I got a final question for you here, and then, I'll open up to the floor as well. So, I know that success is accomplished on a daily basis, or failure for that matter. And, you've got some pretty lofty goals for 2012. How are you bite-sizing that down to, your daily activities and bringing focus and intensity to those most important things? First of all, what are the most important things for you, and how are you bite-sizing that stuff and making it fun, to do those foundational pieces for you?
Well, we have this Monopoly game going on right now, so that's kind of making me add up the dollars in my mind for making the calls and
So
setting.
everyone wants to put interactive on Facebook, what to get started.
It's I made a pretty good
Stay
amount of
tuned on
money
that.
off of that.
Stay tuned on that. We'll dive further into that as well. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So just give me a high-level overview of what it is.
Just making sure that you're staying in touch with the A++ people every day, setting those appointments, making sure that they're exactly what they want, following.
Can I stop at that A++? How are you staying in, how are you keeping them top of mind, and how are you staying in touch with them?
They contact me.
Okay,
Pretty
so-
much.
So what is an A++?
The ones that are seeking me out daily,
Okay.
ready, want to go.
So that maybe they're looking at stuff and all that sort of thing, and they're reaching out to you,
Yep.
saying, I need to look at this or that or whatever.
Yeah, because you've got the group that will not leave you alone, that are ready right now, and then you got the ones that you call every once in a while. They're not A++. You've got to hit the races with the A++. Get them out there, get them under contract, move on to the next.
What does your pipeline look like with A++?
I don't even know. I don't even know. I
Well,
don't even know.
We're hiring.
Yeah, we need more people so we can track
Give me a
all
ballpark.
this.
Is it 2, is it 20, is it 200?
Well, like million in
No, number of.
number.
So it's
100?
50 people that are.
Yeah, I would say
We
50
got
that respond
in,
back.
Yeah, in HBM alone, and we kind of minimize it instead of taking them to their fullest. We got like 18 million in there that's ready, and we don't even have all of them in there yet.
It's incubating.
There's just a lot. There's too many to track, which is why we need more people, and we need Corey to get on the phones.
A little accountability there. All right, I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, I think you've had just shared some incredible insight with us, and I just can't thank you enough for doing that. I know that you're a little concerned as far as what direction we're going to go, but how we doing? You all right?
Good.
You all right?
Is that at all good?
What?
And hey, Edwina and Jackie are awesome, and you need to love on them, very much so. Thank you, by the way.
Thank you.
And just stay in touch with your vendors. The vendors are awesome too. I've called a couple of my inspectors and got some leads that no one else is calling on. And just everybody, just having good relationships is kind of, I'm going a little bit more towards the people,
Yeah.
and that's helped.
I'll tell you what, in the interest of time, do you mind hanging out just a couple minutes, maybe after the team meeting? If anybody has any questions about some of the things that are working for you?
Yep.
Awesome.
And yes.
Bonnie, lock in. Man, was that some powerful stuff? That's some pretty cool stuff, man. Bonnie, I really appreciate it. I think that you're really able to go ahead and share with us, what's working for you in this market. And my big aha, I gotta tell you, is that there's a massive amount of buyers that are out there wanting to buy.
Yep.
A++ buyers, not just the looky-loos, so I think that's pretty cool. So guys, I want to share something real quickly with you, because we've got a lot of events coming up here, and I just want to make sure that you guys have a general idea that there's a method to this madness. Everybody know what this is?
Circle.
Circle, good. Anything else?
You get your real estate license now.
They haven't really started.
Circle of business, what else? Calendar, okay, good, what else?
Life cycle training.
Life cycle training, I like that. We're getting pretty close.
Motivation. I don't know. Oh, the calendar of events for Keller Williams.
All those are right, and it's also an energy dial.
Energy down.
Okay. All right, so basically, where are we on this energy dial right now? Right here. Right, we just got done with June and July. So what was June as far as business? Was it high or was it low? It was up. How about July?
Up.
Up. So when production's up, where's drama? Down. Challenges like Tony Soprano taught me that. When production's up, drama's down. When drama's up, production's down, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Same thing real estate, right? Okay, so basically in June and July, we had a high level of production. So, I would consider drama like Gatsby kind of stuff like that. When I'm talking about, client servicing, stuff like that, I definitely would imagine that it'd be a little bit higher. So, do you guys have much time to be, thinking about where your energy is? Your energy is pretty high if you're writing a contract pretty much every week, right? Right? So what comes up here? You got August and September. And October, November, December. All right, so what tends to start happening at this time of the year in the real estate world? Where do transactions go? Up or down? Down, right? So we need to infuse a little energy. I write this down, by the way, guys, is that, one way to guarantee energy to any appointment or meeting, what do you think that one way would be? One way to guarantee energy. It's gonna sound incredibly easy. Bring it. If you bring the energy, can you guarantee that there will be energy there?
Yep.
Right? So do you have control over your energy? Right? So basically what we're looking at, what comes up in September?
Mega camp.
Mega camp. What's in October?
Bald.
What's going on here in August? Yeah, right? Play Big Tour, Seller Mastery, and Ignite. I gotta tell you, this Seller Mastery is gonna be an incredible event on Wednesday, 8:30 to 4 o'clock by Matt Fettick. Play Big Tour is the 21st in Kansas City. I'm telling you, this guy is gonna give a glimpse of what that's gonna look like. On Wednesday, he's gonna give a glimpse of what that's gonna look like on the 21st. I think you guys are gonna be blown away by it. But the thing that I wanna look at here too, so I don't wanna discount these two things. I think they're incredible things to be a part of. The other thing here is this Ignite. We've had a lot of success with the Ignite. The folks that have gone through it across the nation, we've seen 16 transactions over a 12-month period. Guys, I would encourage every single one of us to be there, not just, the agents that are just getting the ball rolling. It's one of those things that it goes back to basics. Where do we typically need to focus on when we kind of derail a little bit? It's the first thing we talk about. Lead gen. Is that a pretty basic kind of thing? So that's Ignite. Mega camp. What are the dates of Mega camp? By the way, if you got, on average 12 or 16 transactions over the course of the next 12 months, do you now have cash flow coming in by going to Ignite? Right?
Well, Mega Camp, 18th through the 21st.
18th and 21st. Specifically for agents, it's 18th and 19th, is that correct?
Actually, it's the 19th and the first part of the 20th.
Okay, so people are going
All day on Wednesday and half a day on Thursday.
So I want to, this was just announced yesterday, by the way. This is basically what's on tap for Mega Camp. The path to the 7 levels of success, an update on the economy, providing critical perspective of what's in store for tomorrow and how to best shore up your business today. Expansion into new markets, farming. They're going to have panelists from top agents around the country for farming, open houses, expireds for sale by owner, mega agent interviews, showing assistant panel, REO and short sale panelists, and some other things that are going to be added to that list. There's going to be 13,000 of the top agents around the country. They're going to be located in Austin, Texas. If you get in there on Tuesday on the 18th, full day on the 19th, 20th, and you can come back on the 20th. It's one of the premier real estate symposiums around the country from any major brand. And every major brand will be down there. There'll be representatives from every major brand. And are all the panelists, are they all KW agents for people who've been there?
No.
No. One of the guys that I love to death is an independent in Pittsburgh, Bob Sank. He comes down and talks about how he dominates Craigslist. And that's the kind of stuff you get. Michael Mayer was down there last year talking about his book, and I wouldn't doubt that you might have another sighting from him as well, because he's hot on that tour. So if you come back from that stuff, let me ask you, Mark, I mean, you just made how much does that commitment cost you?
Well,
On average.
I made a commitment for my team, it's about $1,000.
About $1,000, right, for airfare, registration,
Hotel, registration.
Right.
And yeah, I put out a little bit more because I'm staying for another class on Thursday afternoon, so I'm not coming back till Friday.
Okay, so it's about $1,000, guys. That's to me, I want a 4-to-1 return. So if I'm putting $1,000 on, I better get 4,000 back at least.
One closing.
One closing, right? Why? I mean, this is kind of cool. Why do you make a commitment to be down there every year?
Well, you know, we thought, you know, Bonnie was on steroids today. You know, think about like you've got some of the top agents in the country, you know, whether we're with Keller Williams or Remax or whomever. I mean, these are the top dogs. And these guys, is, you know, one of John's favorite words, man, these guys bring it, and these gals bring it. And you're sitting there listening to, and have the opportunity to take in and get into the minds of the people who are really doing it nationwide. And probably international wide now with the, from, you know, Chris Heller and everything else. But and you're surrounded by 13,000 agents, and I think that's the key. I mean, everything is talked is about real estate, and you meet people, and you talk about networking and talk about referrals. You'll see, you know, referrals, you know, people just handing out business cards all day long, just trying to get referrals if somebody might be moving to Austin or moving to Pittsburgh or wherever. The atmosphere is phenomenal. Even at lunch, there's lunch and learns that you can go to and choose what you want to go to. It's an atmosphere. It's just you know, I want to say something different there. It's tough every day from 8 a.m. until 6 o'clock at night. It's a full day, and you don't stop.
Totally worth it though.
And there's something else to bring
I
up
think it's
on-
huge, guys. I mean, real quickly, I mean, I think that's huge. I mean, one of the things I want to kind of tie off on their market.
It's
I
not a
really like-
social hour.
I mean, it's not a social hour, but you know, the one thing that I think is really a big deal is that, I mean, you get some pretty cool ideas and strategies. I mean, things that can really take your business to a
Oh,
different
sure.
trajectory, right? And, you know, I think that's a big thing. To me, the reason I always loved it is that, you know, it did this to your mind. You know, I mean, when it stresses your mind, I mean, do you go back? No, I mean, you know, then you're starting to talk about, you know, instead of doing 10 deals a year, how do I do 100? You know, instead of doing 100 deals a year, how do I do 1,000? You know, and it's not because you're greedy, it's because, you know, that allows you to have a bigger life.
And you hear from agents in other markets that maybe they're doing things that we've never even thought about doing in this market. And now you're the market leader by bringing new ideas.
I agree.
And kind of piggybacking on Mark there is, I think what's important, especially since we have so many newer agents too, is that a lot of these people that are on the panel, they're not just picking people that have been in business for 20 years. You're gonna hear some people that got there from zero to, you know, those transactions they're doing in 5 years, 4 years. So what's great about it is you can actually look at that and say, okay, well, he did that in 5 years, I can do that in 5 years. So it's not like it's a 20-year agent that, you know, is up there.
What I've
Yeah, there's not a lot of blue-haired people on the panel.
No. Be nice. I'm getting to be
Hey, I'll
one of
be
those
that
people.
What I can say is that the trend that I've seen is that individuals that have been in the business 3 to 5 years or less are sitting on those panels.
Doing 70 to 125 million a year.
They're breathing the same air that we are. They're putting on their same pants one leg at a time. You know, what are they doing differently? So that's the stuff there that I think is an incredible thing. So then everybody coming back, they got a high energy, they're all jamming, they're excited. And what comes up in October, the first week of October, we got Bold. So I mean, Will, what's Bold? Why is that an exciting thing, and why do you commit to it at such a high level?
What's that? 30 seconds or less, yeah. I just keep thinking about the mirror match. A lot of the things that you hear about, especially if you're new, Bold is a great way to get inundated to those things. I mean, that's funny, I grabbed my Bold book. I actually have 2 of these. I keep one at home and one here, and I just popped it over, just random 2 sections. And one of them was, and it goes right along with what we're talking about, Diana Kokoska, her journal says 80% of success is showing up. I mean, just real simple little things.
Hey, hold on, I gotta stop here, because I mean, it's almost, I mean, we did not plan this one at all.
Nope.
But I mean, basically, here's the reason, here's the method to the madness. I gotta tell you guys, it took me a couple years to figure all this stuff out, because I was like, man, this is all randomly happening at different times. And this is a very calculated move here by our region, and exactly what we did both. So you guys come in, you guys get these massive ideas, and you guys are jamming at a high level, and you got some high excitement and all that sort of thing. And then over here, you got what's called, would you guys, anybody that's been in that, is this the definition of accountability?
Oh, yeah.
It's like accountability on steroids, right? So what's 80% of performance? Maybe call that accountability. I mean, showing up would be accountability, what do you think? I mean, that's a big deal. So, I mean, that's how this stuff is coming together there, don't you think? Does that make sense? Back to you.
Well, and then I flipped another page. It's kind of funny because this is something and I haven't had the opportunity to go to any of the other things. Bold is the only training I've been able to go to just because of my schedule. So really all I've got is Bold, but I will tell you it's the best money spent. But I pulled up something that I say in almost every one of my listing appointments, and I have 90, whatever, 8% closing rate on my listing appointments. The only ones I don't get are the ones I don't want. But I mean, the one I love, the 3 Ps of real estate. It's right here in the book is where I learned it. Most agents, they do the 3 Ps, which is they place a sign in your yard, they put it on the MLS, they pray someone else sells it. I do a couple other things besides that, and that's literally where I got the conversation was from Bold, and I use it to this day. So it's, I think that's the neat part about Bold is there's so much you'll learn, and then you walk away with all of it. So if you don't absorb it, you can always go back.